Am I my brother's keeper? A question asked of God by Cain, and not asked to find out anything in particular, but to claim that he was not responsible for his brother, even though he had murdered his brother. What arrogance. What audacity. That is the heart that each and every one of us possess. You know, the individual that said that is total defiance to God. And Jesus came in the place of Adam, in the position of Adam, to save mankind and to demonstrate how to live and how to be right with God. I want you to think about a couple of stories I'm going to talk about now with Jesus. We had someone that came to Jesus being sarcastic, most likely, and he asked Jesus this question in Matthew 22:36-40. Master, which is the great commandment in the law? Most likely trying to catch Jesus in a trap. And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all of the law and the prophets. Now watch what it says about this individual. But willing to justify himself, said unto Jesus, And who is my neighbor? Think about the sarcasm in that. What he's trying to do is say, I take care of my Jewish brethren. They're my neighbor. Or who else knows what he's trying to justify himself? Who knows what else he meant? So what does Jesus do? How does Jesus answer this? And Jesus does it this way. The story of the Good Samaritan. And Jesus answering said, A certain man came down from Jerusalem, from Jericho, and fell in among these, which stripped him of his raiment, wounded him. He departed, leaving him half dead. So a poor individual has been tackled, beaten up, robbed, and left for dead. Then it says in verse 31 of this same chapter, And by chance there came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. Then, likewise a Levite, when he was at the place, came and looked on him, and passed on the other side, both avoiding contact. You know, a lot of time in our society today, people scream social justice. It is only an opportunity for those individuals to pass by, seeing somebody in the street in need and doing nothing about it, because the society should take care of it. But there was a man, a Samaritan. Now, the way the Jewish people looked at the Samaritans were that they were anathema. They could not touch them. They could not be around them. They were mixing religion. They were heretics. And Jesus uses this man as an illustration. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion on him, on the individual that was beaten up and left. And he went to him, bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast, and brought him to the inn, and took care of him. He gathered up the man's property. He put him on, and took his donkey, and took him to the place to be healed. And on the morrow, when he departed, he took out 2 pence, so he brought him to the hotel. He gave them to the host, and said unto him, Take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more, when I come again, I will pay thee. Notice the personal responsibility. This is great personal responsibility for a neighbor he knows nothing about. Which one of these thinkest thou was a neighbor unto him that fell among the thieves? He said, he that showed him mercy. Then Jesus said unto him, go and do likewise. You see, it's very easy to point the finger at somebody else and say, love your brother, and you do nothing about it. The religious men walked by. And, in a sense, the political men of that day walked by, putting the responsibility on someone else. But the man that would be considered unrighteous in the eyes of this world went and took care of that man. So here is the answer to the question that was asked by Cain. You are your brother's keeper. What do you think Cain is going to face on Judgment Day, when he stands before a holy God after he had asked such a question in arrogance? Many of us will face the same thing. There is one answer to that, and the answer is that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever should trust in him would have everlasting life. You see, Jesus was put to death, but he resurrected. The new Adam, to save you and to save me. Come to Jesus. Put yourself on the shelf and pick up others. Help them and be a neighbor to those around you. Until next time, may Jesus increase as we decrease.